Welcome to the Man Dude Bro Show. I'm Hunter Markham, and with me are my co-hosts, Sarah Dunaway, who picks up chicks in bars by saying, "Damn girl, that ass is too fine to shit with," and Kevin James, who's a huge fan of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Today, we're going to do a definitive ranking of the best Sports Illustrated swimsuit editions, and then we're going to talk about both the video games. That's right, Call of Duty and Madden.
Hunter, I just want to issue a slight correction here. I am DJ Kevin James. I insist you use my proper title.
This is actually Gritty Reboot, where we discuss TV shows and seldom talk about pickup lines or Sports Illustrated swimsuit editions. Unless you're really into that, Sarah.
That was just one episode. We were going through a phase.
Although that is how I pick up chicks in bars.
That all stemmed from yesterday when I thought of that terrible pickup line while watching How High, starring Method Man and Redman.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. You just can't go wrong watching any Wu-Tang Clan film.
Exactly. It's a classic movie, and it really sets a high watermark for the art I consume, and as a connoisseur, I think that I'm really prepared to dissect Wynonna Earp Season 2, Episode 5.
Let's pretend we're strangers.
Okay, I'm Hunter Markham. Nice to meet you, stranger.
That's a fair response, but that is actually the title of this episode for some reason.
I'm not really sure why.
Listen, I don't think they really do titles in the thing of, like, let's make it tie into what the show is about. It was just like, these are words that, I don't know, it's like a Zodiac Killer thing where we're going to have to unravel the clues 30
Can we please not
years
discuss
later.
Ted Cruz right now, Hunter?
Didn't they just figure out the Zodiac Killer cipher?
Yeah, that was late last month. December of 2020 for people who are hearing this whenever they're going to hear it.
Yeah, dude, just to catch everyone up, we have been on a hiatus for a while. We have not recorded since before the holidays. So this is now the first recording of 2021, and we barely remember where we were at watching this show.
Yes. In our defense, there was an election, a coup attempt, lots of crazy stuff happened that kind of shook out this little sci-fi show from our brains, because just throwing this out there, it turns out that B television is not as important as watching democracy crumble before our eyes.
So, besides that, how are your holidays?
Pretty good.
A spectral hand appeared in my family's living room and wrote "Meanie meanie tekel you farson" on the wall in blood, but I don't think that's anything to worry about. I'm pretty sure 2021 is going to be a great year for me.
Yeah, what did we do over the holidays? Just holidayed?
Yeah, relaxed. I started a new job this week.
Congratulations. Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
I haven't given you official congratulations, really, and I was planning to do that like last time we were supposed to record.
Appreciate it, yeah.
All right.
We'll table that for now.
Yeah, table that important conversation. Sarah's moving up in the world.
I'm moving up in the world. It's exciting.
We're going to celebrate later with, bloody rat tail margaritas.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin James' birthday treat. Because it is your birthday, and what you wanted to do surprised everyone when you said, let's talk about the Wynonna Earp episode where she grinds up rats in the blender.
All right, I just want to say this episode really stepped up its game from the jump with rats in a blender. Like, that just made me think of the Eve 6 song, sorry.
Is it because the Eve 6 Twitter account just blew up in the last, week?
Maybe. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, there was just a lot of the kind of stuff they have not been showing us or have been shying away from the real action. They just went for it this week, and I really appreciated it.
Yes, this had my favorite type of Wynonna Earp storytelling plot. It's all nonsense, but it is reveling in how much nonsensical fun it is having it. The camera's doing all these tilts to the side and what's she doing kind of shots as, Melanie Scrofano laughs her ass off, grinding up a rat to drink.
But the rat is 100% rubber, and it's 900% obvious that it is a rubber prop.
Yes.
It's like a little, like a Halloween store rubber rat that they throw in the blender.
Yes, it's hilariously obvious.
To backtrack, Wynonna is possessed by a demon at this point. She has Waverly tied up to a chair because at the end of the previous episode, Wynonna and Waverly kissed, and that gave Wynonna a demon possession.
Sexually transmitted demons. It's all the rage.
Melanie Scrofano does a really good job of carrying off being possessed and having two personalities where you can tell, even though she doesn't have all black eyes as she's saying demon lines and stuff, that it's not the Wynonna Earp character and it is the demon character. And when she has a moment where she shifts and is herself again because she's fighting against the possession, it's immediately obvious, which I could not carry off on screen. I realized as I was watching this.
Yeah. You could not carry that off. I'm sorry, Hunter.
I know you guys could, but my acting range is limited.
Sarah, could you do it? No, I could not. I barely pull off this DJ Kevin James character I just made up.
What am I pulling off?
No, Melanie Scrofano's double demon possession.
Unsure.
We'll do a screen test. We're going to have to all try and pull off being possessed and shifting characters from sentence to sentence. But this is one hell of a scene with the rat smoothie, Waverly being tied up, and then Wynonna is like, oh, I'm just going to leave you here tied up and not kill you. But before I do, I'm going to gag you. But she just, to keep Waverly quiet, stuffs a dish towel partway into her mouth, and that stops Waverly from screaming. Couldn't Waverly just spit out the gag? Because it's not taped over her mouth.
This is what I always think when I see...
I know.
When I see this happen in shows, just kind of push it out with your tongue. I don't see the problem here.
Yeah, I don't get it. I also don't really get why she was trying to feed the smoothie to Waverly in the first place.
Yeah, what is the demon getting out of that when the demon's entire goal is, I guess, get shocked by lightning we learn at the end of the episode?
Right, when Waverly was possessed, she ate spiders, and I was like, okay, sure, demons are weird, I don't know what they eat. So it would make sense to me if Wynonna made herself a rat smoothie, but I don't get why she's feeding it to Waverly.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't get a lot of stuff about this demon as it's revealed throughout the episode, because up until this point...
Oh man, it's very confusing.
Yeah, up until this point, it was, there is one demon, it has possessed Waverly, and then it moved from Waverly into Wynonna. And then later on this episode, they introduced this biblical thing of, oh, this demon is multiplying and it's trying to become legion and it's trying to divide and possess a buttload of people. Why couldn't it just have split and possess both Waverly and Wynonna? Because it later splits and it also infects mean, evil, blonde Agent Lucado lady.
Yeah, it's confusing. This show does a weird thing. We'll get into it more later. I think they just do a really bad job sharing necessary information sometimes.
They make up the rules as they go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch it and you're trying to follow a story and you're looking at it with, oh yeah, I want to figure out what's going on here, I want to get invested in this world, there are a lot of points where they just make that impossible because you have to question, wait, what? How does this work? This either isn't logical or doesn't fit the rules you've set up before.
And really all you need is a Giles or Willow character to be oh, this is how this demon operates. This is why this can't happen or why this has to happen or whatever it is. You just need someone to be oh, I just found in this book that, if the demon is in a blonde woman, it will immediately explode her head or whatever the heck. It can be dumb. It doesn't have to be a good reason.
And we theoretically have characters who can fill that role, mysterious Juan Carlo, who is off being mysterious,
Jeremy,
or our new
Waverly.
favorite tech guy, Jeremy, who is too busy trying to lick lead paint in this episode to answer questions.
That's not even a joke. If you haven't seen the episode and you're listening to this, that's for real what this kid does. As soon as he's presented with something that is supposed to have been painted in the 50s, is he licks it to test if it's lead paint.
The exact line, that doesn't taste like lead, which raises a lot of questions about Jeremy.
That straight up means he's licked enough paint that he knows from first lick, whether or not it's lead.
He's like a lead sommelier. He goes to like fancy classes. Swishes the lead paint around in his glass.
Oh, I believe this has a little touch of mercury in it. I can feel my organs beginning to shut down.
But yes, the Earp plate from last episode, he just licks it and goes, must have been repainted, and then digitally images to find out that underneath is this other thing that is just like the symbol of Purgatory's volunteer fire department, which... okay, you're throwing me for a lot of loops, episode.
Yes. There are some things about the fire department, but first, Jeremy's instinct after he has scanned this plate, and there's the image that shows this cool symbol beneath the non-lead paint. His thing is, I have to take this plate all the way to Black Badge to have this image examined. And it has to be like Doc Holliday or someone who says, email them the picture, dude. Like, make it a JPEG and attach it. Why would you drive it over there? First of all, why is Doc Holliday the one suggesting this, since he barely knows how computers work? And why is Jeremy's first instinct as the IT guy not to just, I'll send the image over. That's a lot more that's a lot faster and more efficient.
Look, Doc Holliday just got a Hotmail account. He's very excited to test it out. And Jeremy, like any intern, is just trying to drag out the amount of work he has to last the whole day.
No, it's a really great point, though, because, I mean, even just, like, colleagues I have who are over, 45, 50, like, will just forget or, like, just not think of, taking a picture and sending something or Googling something, and you have to, like, continually remind them. So Doc Holliday would not be at this place where he's just, like, airdrop it to them or whatever. Like,
yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
Doc Holliday just bought a muscle car which gets 4 miles per gallon, and because it's a red muscle car means that he smokes menthols and knows the age of consent in every state in America. And he's crowing about how his car has a cassette player. This is not the dude who would be saying, like, just, airdrop something. I just wanted to get in my dig on Doc Holliday's car. I had to wedge it in somehow.
That's fair. It's a car that needs to be,
fumigated. Check
it
with
needs
a
to be
black
mopped.
light. It's one of those cars where it's like you see someone driving it and you're like, that guy's kind of a scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Dolls finds Waverly has been tied up and rescues her and determines that Waverly is not possessed. And Waverly apologizes for all the things she did to Dolls while she was possessed.
And then there's a kick-ass fight scene in the Earp house?
Yes, between Lucado and Dolls.
Which is actually probably the best hand-to-hand combat scene that they've shot in this show. Because there was a really stupid one from season 1 where Wynonna was fighting that other lady in her underwear. At least one of them was scantily clad. This scene between Dolls and Lucado was shot a lot better and had some cool moments. So it didn't feel like an overlong, boring fight scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to give props where props is due, but they do shoot holes through the Earp house and break windows and smash walls. And then to break up the fight, Waverly fires a shotgun blast into the ceiling of her own home, which... Put a pin in that. Like, that's an important thing we're going to have to circle back to later, I promise. I just want you to know, like, the, banister rail for the stairs was also destroyed during this fight. So, there's a lot of destruction in the home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing these girls clearly inherited this house because the repairs are going to be very costly. On top of a mortgage, it might be unsustainable.
Yeah, this poor little 3-room cabin has been through so much.
A lot, yeah.
Kevin, you were earlier trying to transition intelligently to the volunteer fire department, and I cut you off by talking about Doc's car. But we definitely need
Oh, no,
to
I wasn't
discuss-
trying to transition to that yet. I was just trying to... I was actually trying to put that off a little more so that we could wait until closer to halfway to unveil our fun little clip that we found about them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we could transition now, and since we've buried the lead so far.
Yeah, I think we should.
All right, let's transition. Let's talk about volunteer firefighters.
My favorite part of this is that they walk in and the firefighter dude, who is, by the way, Michael Guerin from Roswell, Brendan Fair. I immediately recognized him, even though he's like 25 years older or something.
You just said names and words and stuff. All I thought when I saw this guy was, oh, they just got a firefighter dude who they cast to look as much like Dennis Leary from Rescue Me as possible. Because that's the only firefighter show any of these people have ever seen.
I think it's because Brendan Fair is Canadian. He was on a really popular sci-fi show that started in 1999, Roswell. He and Jason Behr and Katherine Heigl were aliens. So
holy shit. I learned so much. This is why I love doing this podcast.
So I think he's from Alberta, actually. So I think they just cast a local actor who did sci-fi.
Oh, wow. The whole time I was just like, oh, he's got like a Rescue Me vibe going on. I was not looking at the details correctly.
He does kind of have a Rescue Me vibe.
I've never seen that show.
Me neither.
I have, of course, seen Roswell.
But, like, Rescue Me was one of, like, the last, like, I don't know, semi-big shows before I stopped having cable. So, like, I saw a ton of commercials for it.
Yeah. I had a friend who was really into it. I've never seen an episode, but I remember seeing so many ads for it at the time that it was burned into my consciousness. It felt like the last series that was really big, that was a drama before HBO totally took over the landscape and before streaming services buried everything. So it was kind of that last gasp where it was like, ooh, like this is a TV show that you like set your TiVo for.
I think I remember seeing like commercials for it and stuff, and I was like, oh, it's like Third Watch, but more with the firefighters. And I just thought that seemed kind of already done.
Yes.
Probably.
There's a cold open for this show, this episode, where it's the firefighters decapitating a demon while they're dressed up in plague doctor garb. But this is where I ran into another inconsistency where they decap this demon and they're like, we're killing demons, this is going great. Maybe it was just revenants. I thought Peacemaker was the only weapon that could put down demons for good. Was that... Maybe I was reading that wrong. Maybe I was making assumptions.
I don't know. Maybe?
But I guess these people can kill demons. Because we're never told otherwise. We're never told that they're actually fucking up and just not putting demons down for good. They seem like...
Everything we see in the show seems to indicate they're actually doing a good job, because we find out later in the episode what they've been doing is hunting down all of the little splinters of the demon Wynonna killed at the end of season 1. Mikshin, great name there, guys. Apparently it's possessed a bunch of people. They've been killing all of them, and now there's only the last splinter that's currently possessing Wynonna.
I believe it's Mikshun, actually. It's culturally insensitive to not pronounce his name correctly.
Yes. But yeah, and our mysterious spiritual Juan Carlo guy like shows up like, you're doing great work, guys. Just checking in. You really earned those nachos.
Yeah. It's odd that out of nowhere, because Wynonna goes there while she's possessed to this volunteer fire department with Doc Holliday, and they're this whole crew who I guess they sometimes fight fires, but mostly they just kill demons. And this has never come up before in the show, nor has it been hinted at.
And they just have like rows upon rows of bright, shiny murder axes. And people are like, yeah, those are the kind of axes the fire department would have.
They also apparently give tours to just anyone who wanders by. Mm-hmm. Like the way he starts like launching into the whole history of the fire department and like, yeah, so this is the building. Like, who does that in their workplace? No one.
Look, as a fan of fantasy literature, I can assure you, plenty of perfectly normal people just launch into long expositional monologues about the history of things at the drop of a hat. That's just a thing people do.
For sure, yeah, that's fair.
They also seem very well funded for a volunteer fire department.
Yes.
Volunteer fire department in my town is a pretty just normal, really bland building, and it's just where, when it's not being the volunteer fire department, it's where you go vote. This is a state-of-the-art fire department with gleaming fire engines and everything, and it seems like these guys are there full-time, which is not typical for volunteer firefighters.
Yeah, their volunteer fire department house looks better than the actual fire department house that's like 2 blocks from where Sarah and I live, and ours looks pretty nice already.
They spared no expense on this volunteer fire department, who, I guess, despite being called volunteers, get paid handsomely because they don't have to work another job. Unless killing demons pays really well, and Wynonna's just been hiding that from us.
Well, I think they actually supplement their income by being part-time models. As you can see, like, anytime you walk in, they're just constantly working out.
Yeah, they're just, like, ripped, wearing sick Jordans, and during monologues with Juan Carlo, the leader dude, what's his name, Ewan?
Yes, Ewan Allenbach.
Yeah, he's doing...
The most Canadian name.
Yeah, he's doing incline bench press. I'm very happy that he's using correct form during this, because I recently watched an episode of Veronica Mars where someone was doing bench press and they were doing half reps, and it made me really angry.
Oh, the Logan and the mayor.
Why do you know the exact scene when I just say, oh yeah, there's a bench press thing in Veronica Mars, and you're just like, season 2, episode 6.
Yeah, when he win his essay contest, he won the essay contest, and then he goes to... I know Veronica Mars really well.
You were like the Rain Man of Veronica Mars.
Yeah, it serves me really well in life. Comes up a lot.
If you think this is impressive, Hunter, just ask her about, like, West Wing trivia and watch her quote the entire episode is from back to
When
you.
I visit you guys, I'm just going to drop a bunch of DVD box sets onto the ground, and Sarah's going to look up at me and say, there's 642 DVDs in there. But she can't with anything else.
Yeah.
It's just television series where her brain is encyclopedic.
It's because I rewatch things a lot. You know, there's no secret to it.
Impressive. I've seen How High like 3 times, and I remember probably 2 lines from it.
But yeah, it's so weird. Like, this fire department order, like, it just comes out of nowhere, and it feels like it so fundamentally changes the dynamic of the show in a way that's like, this needed to be seated in a little more naturally than just, bam, giant order of demon hunters, been here the whole time.
But doing absolutely nothing?
They claim they've been doing a lot and Wynonna has just missed it, which is a very lazy way to hand wave.
It's a group of white men. That's what they all say. I've been, like, super busy doing, like, so many things.
It's not all just doing squats and back squats and hack squats and deadlifts and Romanian deadlifts here. Well, actually, no, we kind of just worked out for a while.
But look, think of how many demons have been killed. Like, sure, you're the one that technically did it, but we've been here the whole time, so...
Really, this is our accomplishment?
Yeah.
Like, together, teamwork?
It's my idea, really.
Statistically, the demon population has declined over this time period, so... We've got...
You're welcome.
Yeah. You're welcome, girl with the gun who can kill revenants. Well, we apparently never interacted with the... What is it, like 70-some-odd demons who were living in a trailer park on the edge of town?
They were getting around to it.
It was on our to-do list. But first we had to coil and uncoil all of these fire hoses.
It's also kind of funny. Like, I don't know how much you guys read of the series of unfortunate events by, what's his name?
Lemony Snicket?
Yes, thank you. But in those series, there was also, like, a big conspiracy about a secret order of volunteer firefighters who were, like, doing secret good deeds. And, like, in that series, I assume the volunteer fire department was picked because it was a faintly ridiculous idea that's kind of funny for that kind of series, which tends to be, like, a little tongue-in-cheek, even as it, you know, delves into some darker stuff. So it's a little weird to see an adult show do it unironically.
I didn't know that was part of that series because I've never read it or watched the movies. But yeah, it feels like it would fit better in that world and in something that's supposed to be a little more broad than Wynonna Earp, where there's still this thing of like, it's kind of dark and there's bad stuff happening and the humor comes from Wynonna making light of serious situations.
But anyway, Hunter, I understand that you actually did some digging into where the Order has been this whole time.
Yeah, we were just speculating. And because it was so weird for them to come out of nowhere and seem like they hadn't been doing anything, I turned to the tape. I dug into the archives. I spent the holidays hacking into the sci-fi servers with a little help from my buddy Jeremy, and I got my hands on a deleted scene from Wynonna Earp, which delves more into how this order seems to have popped up out of absolutely nowhere.
Well, I hope this is worth it, because it sounds like you've committed some pretty serious crimes to get your hands on it.
I'm going to court in a month. I've got to get a lawyer, but...
All right, well, if you hear this, audience, please help us crowdfund Hunter's defense for getting this groundbreaking scene to us.
So, let me get this straight. The time the entire town was poisoned and turned into a murderous mob, you dorks in the Order were... where exactly?
I seem to recall the deputy marshal and I were engaged in quite a boisterous dust-up at the local saloon. Could have really used y'all's help slaughtering 40 revenants.
Oh, yeah, I think I heard about that. December, right?
Yeah, the winter solstice.
We weren't on the clock then. We worked February through Aprilish. You know who you should have called? The Pizza Boys.
What is this pizza you speak of? That sort of Italian cuisine was not introduced to the States until the late 19th century, and mostly in urban centers, of which I am largely unfamiliar.
Can you get him to shut up, Wynonna?
I wish. Now, what was this about Pizza Boys?
Call themselves the Slicers. They show up to houses where demons live, pretend to have the wrong address delivery, cut up the demons, burn the parts, the whole shebang.
And these so-called pizza boys, they kill demons in December?
Well, except for holidays.
So if there's a demon uprising on Christmas, I'm just on my own?
No way, just ring up the county clerk.
That is to say, the county clerk kills demons.
No, that's ridiculous. Completely absurd. She'll patch you through to the bank teller's hotline. They'll withdraw their weapons and deposit those demons in hell.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Why do you think they invented bank holidays? Freeze them up for demon killing.
If I had my druthers, I would not spend my precious free time snuffing out the supernatural.
Be quiet, Doc. Preferably forever. Ewan, look, my sister is possessed by a demon, and we need your help to unbind it from her body.
Oof, I wish I could keep jawing with you, but it's my lunch hour. Tell you what, run it by Jerry at the bowling alley. We cover each other's breaks on these sorts of things.
I don't have time to explain it again. We need to take care of this tonight.
Ooh, nighttime? This is awkward.
Let me guess, you don't work nights.
Against regulations, my hands are tied.
Fine. Who can help me?
Well, it's an even-numbered year with below-average precipitation. Weeknight under the sign of Aries. Half moon. Yep, looks like you'll be partnered with the 4-H kids on this one.
They're like 13 years old.
Great at raising lambs and destroying the undead. We give out ribbons for both.
What, pray tell, is 4-H?
Fucking kill me.
I wish they would have left this in the show so we could have really expanded our world and seen that nearly everyone in the town of Purgatory knows there are demons in the vicinity and is involved in killing them at some time or another.
Honestly, I'd watch a whole show just about those 4-H kids.
Yes. The Fraternal Order of Volunteer Fire Departers, the assistant pastry chefs of Purgatory, just whoever, just taking part in all this would be great.
It actually would kind of make sense because Sheriff Walrus Face Guy in a previous episode intimated that he knew that there was supernatural and kind of told Nicole about it. So if the whole town actually knew and this whole time they're like, yeah, Wynonna, we get it, you've been killing demons. The only reason we hate you is because you act so high and mighty about it. Like, we don't make a big deal. Killed 6
You're
last
not
week.
special, Wynonna. We're all killing demons over here.
Yeah, I saw one crossing the street, gunned it in my F-250, ran him over. Done. You don't see me walking around having a drinking problem over it.
You killed, 20 revenants last season? Did you know Champ killed 30 one day? He was just messing around with a tractor. It's a thing that happens.
If Champ was actually part of the volunteer fire department in a later episode, I would be so stoked because he would fit right in. All he does is work out, and he could totally kill demons.
There's not to, be incredibly on brand, but in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, they actually address in the show why the people of Sunnydale never catch on to the vampire problem. And the thing is, they just don't want to deal with it. They're basically like willfully turning a blind eye because actually acknowledging it would be, it would basically make them insane. But they present Buffy with an award at the prom like, we know you're the person who's been stopping a lot of this, so thank you for making sure our high school class had the lowest death count of any Sunnydale High graduating class in history.
Oh.
And it's very cute and well done.
It is very sweet. Although, I mean, the whole idea of people denying a really bad thing that's happening willfully, I'm not sure I've ever seen any parallels for that in the real world, so I'm not sure if I buy it.
Yes.
It's a fantasy, so we have to suspend our disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, just before Wynonna and Doc leave the volunteer firefighter hall, Wynonna pulls a knife on Ewan, which I am told is a pronunciation of this
Ewan.
name. Ewan. Ewan. It's all the same. Is there a difference? But anyway, Doc Holliday is like, wow, a knife but not Peacemaker. Get in the trunk, bitch. I know you're not the real Wynonna. It just kidnaps her in broad daylight.
With that car, that is no way the first time a woman has been stuffed in the trunk of it.
That's not even the first time Wynonna's been stuffed in that car.
Judging by the end of this episode, that's probably true. Oh my god, okay, yeah, that one got me. But Doc knows she's a demon. Dolls is back. I guess he and Lucado are sort of on terms after she was, like, trying to kill him in the Earp house. So when they
it's this kind of weird throwaway scene. Well, not throwaway, but like the dialogue is just spout out so fast you can easily miss it. She's like, I've got to take you back to get back on Black Badge's good graces after I fucked up getting the dinner plate last episode. And they just kind of like look right past that and go right back to helping each other.
That was a little strange, but that doesn't brew for that long, considering all the events of this episode, which are myriad and mystifying. But they get Wynonna back into a holding cell in the jail, and then after Lucado and Dolls send Waverly and Doc on a wild goose chase, they're like, we have to cut off one of Wynonna's fingers to get a demon goop sample, and Dolls has to go in and do that?
Yes. That is an accurate description of what happened. I didn't really follow it, though.
My biggest takeaway from this scene was Dolls uses pruning shears to clip off one of Wynonna's pinkies, which is all good, because we know from the previous episode that the demon can just regrow its host body parts like it did with Waverly's hand. But the best part was how he picked up the finger with an inside-out plastic bag like he's picking up dog poop. That was my favorite thing about the scene. I guess you can extract demon goop from that appendage somehow, and that was just a thing that we needed to do, and they needed to get Waverly and Doc out of the way for this, even though they would totally understand the situation.
Yeah, I was also confused why in the whole, like, Wynonna's going back and forth between her demon self and her real self, why the demon was like, no, don't do it, please, no. And then Wynonna was like, no, go for it. But the demon knows it's going to grow back. Like, what does the demon care?
Yeah, and it even turns out that this wasn't that bad for the demon, because then when they extract the goop from the severed finger, it then tantalizes Agent Lucado and gets her to touch the goop and infects her. So it seems like it's even in the demon's best interest to multiply by letting the people do this.
Yeah, it's weirdly inconsistent how this demon is handled. Like, even like just the hand thing you talked about, Hunter, like that's great planting and payoff. Like, oh, we know from the last episode that it can regrow limbs. That's solid, like, setup for this episode. But then you think of things like, wait, but if the goo from the hand can just infect anyone now, we should really go back and find that hand we stopped searching for.
Uh-huh.
Oh, whoa. I didn't think about that at all, because I'm a big dummy. So, yeah, Waverly's hand that got cut off in the last episode is essentially just a demon problem waiting to happen.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them. I was just thrown by every time Dolls enters a situation in a big way in this episode, which is he's like in the office where Michael Scott in his improv class, in every single improv thing, just pulls a gun, because Dolls does that in every single scene in this show. He walks in and sees Waverly tied up, pulls a gun. Lucado shows up at the Earp house, he pulls a gun. Lucado then is about to touch the goop, he pulls a gun. It's his one response to life.
Can we talk about why did Lucado touch the goop?
Yes, why the hell did she touch the goop?
It's like some weird thing where she's like, it's whispering to me, and it says I won't be alone anymore, which there was never anything about her character where it's like, yeah, like she's a multifaceted character who has issues with abandonment.
It's very odd.
But she just touches the goop and then also, out of nowhere, pulls a full scanners and her head explodes.
I don't understand how she got promoted if she's this susceptible to just like, oh, demon goo is whispering to me, so I guess we gotta go for it.
Yes, she has been alone with this goo for roughly the length of time it would take to watch an episode of The Office, and she's like, I've resisted as long as I can. I have to touch it. Even though she has insisted, like, she was the person who explained, don't touch demon goo, bad stuff will happen from the very beginning.
Yeah, she's the one who told Waverly. She's like, Waverly, go back to where you originally touched it and try and find a sample, but don't touch it this time. Touching goo, never a good thing. No one should ever do it. Believe me, I'd never do such a thing. And then the first second she's presented with demon goop, she's like, oh, a little dab on the finger won't hurt.
And then I have no idea why her head explodes.
Yeah, they explain it away later in some throwaway line of like, oh, maybe she wasn't as strong as Waverly and Wynonna, or maybe the demon's getting more powerful. But, because the demon...
It's so weird how this show just kind of like tosses out like casual explanations and like doesn't even care if you heard it. Like, it's just like an aside, like, maybe it's more powerful.
Except then it like in the next scene it jumps to Waverly and Waverly's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess she has the most powerful brain for fighting demons.
She is our brain genius.
I mean, I love Waverly. I'm just not sure I understand why it's like, oh, well, she can withstand any demon possession, obviously.
Yeah, because we know she's not an Earp, so there's not some special magical genetic thing, because she's apparently adopted. But the other thing is, the demon was pleased as punch when it infected Lucado, and it does some little Bible quote thing of like, oh, I'm becoming Legion. And then the head explodes. So this demon is just shitty.
Very bad at building an army.
Yeah.
That's not how you do it.
If it kills most of the people it possesses and that just stops the possession, then it's not an effective demon, and it's like a poor virus, like a virus that would infect someone.
Yeah, it's like Ebola. Like, if you kill everyone too fast, you're just not going to get that much spread.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem like that big of a threat as a demon. Lucado was just gone as a character. I guess the writers were just bored with her, or she wasn't working out well.
I mean, I can't blame them for that.
And meanwhile, Waverly's idea is, oh, Wynonna's the only person who can kill this demon because she can wield Peacemaker, but she can't do that while she's demon possessed, so I have to convince the demon to repossess me. And there's only one way to do that, and you know what this show is gonna do, because at a certain point, it's just a show about incest. The sisters have to kiss again.
Yes.
What? Why is this always... How many times is this gonna happen?
Too many?
God.
Yeah, it feels like already too many.
Yeah, I just have a note in here that's just a bunch of sister puns, which one of them will end up being an episode title.
Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit.
Sister Act 2, Back in the Hot Bitch was one of them. There's French Kissed, Sister Roboto, Sister Miyagi. All in the Family. I was just writing these apparently as I was watching.
But I also don't get why Waverly didn't tell anyone else her plan, because as soon as she gets possessed, she basically just walks off, and Wynonna is like, hey guys, Waverly's the one who's possessed now, and Doc Holliday and Doll's like, nice try, person who's still possessed. You have fun, Waverly. Go do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, she literally walks out of the room right past Doc and Dolls, and Wynonna spends precious minutes convincing them that now Waverly's possessed, and by that time she's gotten away and they have to try and chase her down. Waverly should have just been like, hey, guys, stand right outside here. I'm going to get the demon to possess me so that you guys can carry out your plan, and Wynonna can shoot the demon with Peacemaker once you guys do your special magic shit to get it to leave my body.
Communication is key, people.
Send a text. They just need a Slack account for Black Badge.
And this is what I mean when I say, like, this is, like, important information that, like, could be easily written in, like, just, this is the plan, she gets transferred in, but the demon really is getting too powerful and just breaks out and escapes anyway.
Yes. That would have been better than this, everyone going off half-cocked and not having a plan, which doesn't seem like Waverly because she is a smart and thoughtful character. It's a disservice to her.
Yeah.
But again, this is the show that made her sing a jazz standard last episode for no reason.
True.
Yes. So she goes back to the barn, and we find out what you said, Hunter. Like, if she strikes herself with lightning during the thunder snowstorm that's happening, Mikshin will be permanently fused to her, and that will be bad.
Much like time travel, demons require 1.21 gigawatts in order to fully possess someone.
But Officer Hot is there because she wants to find out what's been going on with Waverly, and something we kind of skipped over is Wynonna, when she was being possessed, was trying to sow doubt about Nicole and Waverly's relationship.
To be fair, Nicole's getting a little overbearing with the leaving 3 voicemails that have not been answered by Waverly in the span of a day. If you guys are committed and you're like, whoa, I don't know where my significant other is, and this is something of like, she might be dead because we fight demons all the time, I guess that's understandable. Alright, I retract my statement. Nicole's doing fine.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me, given everything going on in their world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Wynonna sows doubt and is like, Nicole, you're being too clingy. Waverly's not that into you, even though you're great. Oh, Nicole's not wearing khakis anymore.
Yeah, they've been upgrading her this season. They've been, like, trying to, point out to us that she's hot in case we missed it.
In case we missed it from the first time she was on screen being a beautiful person.
Right. I personally did not miss it, and so I'm not complaining that they're dressing her up more, but unnecessary.
It's so funny how shows are like mistrustful that their audience will understand who is hot if they don't highlight it.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's winter. Waverly's got to have a crop top on so we know that she's hot, and we should make Officer Nicole's police uniform look as much like Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow uniform from the Avengers movie as possible. Because that's what cops wear, because cops have to be super sexy. It's strange because I'm like, she could just be wearing a normal cop uniform and you look at her and you're just like, yeah, she's a very attractive woman.
Yeah.
You don't need to do anything.
I have eyes. I can see when I look at someone. Yes, that is like a more attractive person than I would usually see in my everyday life.
This person seems like they're attractive, but the clothes aren't painted on, so...
I mean, I just can't really tell, like, how great of an ass it is, so, like, I'm not sure what to think now.
That's a real problem. I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a lot of long, slow shots to just really point out every curve of her body. Otherwise, I don't know if I can get invested in this romance.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the Fraternal Order is just surrounding the barn with holy water and like, all right, let's just chop off Waverly's head. This is the easiest solution to the problem.
Wait, have we discussed the lightning rod yet?
Vaguely. We haven't really talked about the device.
Okay, I was cracking up at this because, like, okay, so apparently she needed a lightning rod. You know what serves as a lightning rod? Just like any fucking metal pole. Like, I don't know why Waverly needed to collect a million different metal items to like cobble together some weird rod. Like, just get a rod. Go to Home Depot. I don't understand.
Just get a lightning rod, put it on the top of the barn, and instead of running a cable down into the ground to ground it, run it down into the barn where you can hold on to it.
Just stand by the weather vane on top of the barn.
Yes, it's really...
Like, this is way too complex.
You're making it more difficult because she builds a contraption out of soup spoons and martini mixers that's this towering pillar in the barn that just goes up through the roof.
Yeah. And it's like... It just made it was disappointing for me because I wanted there to be some interesting reason that the demon was collecting shiny objects, and the reason was just to make an unnecessarily complicated lightning rod.
I thought this was supposed to be like some sort of weird magpie-related demon that was going to have something of like, oh, like it's building its weird roost to attract a demon mate or something, and then we were going to have some really fucked up weird storyline going on. I don't know. It felt like an underwhelming reveal for a mysterious, tantalizing bit of information.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they had a cool idea to start with, and then they couldn't follow through on it because, yet again, a demon that has to be shocked with lightning in order to fully possess someone, not a really effective demon.
Yeah, I mean, evolutionarily, it just like doesn't seem like that would persevere throughout time.
Meanwhile, like you were saying, the volunteer firefighter order shows up in burgundy leather habits and plague doctor masks with an assortment of swords, axes, and crossbows. Because what? And Nicole and Waverly are in the barn while it's being surrounded and doused with holy water. And remember when I said put a pin in the house thing? Nicole says, Waverly, I'm worried about you. There were, quote, signs of struggle in the house. Dude, someone shot a shotgun through the ceiling. The entire stair rail's destroyed. Windows are broken. There are bullet holes in the walls. Signs of a struggle is underselling it. Oh, it looks like there was a shootout inside of your home.
That tracks.
If I was Nicole, I'd be like, what the fuck? Your place is a wreck. So she seems like she's not worried enough.
Absolutely. Like, she should have been like, Waverly, I'm so happy you're alive. I thought you for sure you were dead because your house looks like someone was killed in it.
I thought Navy SEALs came to shoot up the house again because that's happened before in the past.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is when Wynonna, Dolls, and Doc show up and instantly get the upper hand in this situation with the Order because they brought guns to a sword fight.
Yes. This is where I feel like this kind of one scene sort of explains Wynonna Earp's kind of problem with conveying information in an understandable way. Wynonna, the Order asks, "Oh, are you still possessed, Wynonna?" Even though earlier, help me out with his name, Ewan. Did I mess it up again?
Yes, it's okay.
Someone else say it for me.
Ewan.
Yes, he earlier, just like on set, was like, oh, Waverly's possessed now. But apparently you can't tell when someone is unpossessed. So in order to convince him that she isn't possessed, Wynonna says, if I was possessed, could I do this? Pistol whips the guy and then just downs an entire flask. And it wasn't until this rewatch I realized that flask had holy water in it. Like, that's probably an important thing to make very clear, because if you just see someone punch out someone who's on your team and then just down something.
I did not get that, and so I was like, I think someone possessed by a demon could do that.
Yes.
I don't get it.
It was very strange for her to say, if I was possessed, could I do this? And then punch out one of the good guys who kills demons. That's the first thing she does of like, yeah, no, that's exactly what a demon would do.
And then take a swig of what I thought was liquor.
Right, because it's in a flask. If she could have just said, like, hand me some holy water, I'll drink it and prove that I'm not a demon, and it would be so much clearer.
Yes, that would have been better instead of the pistol whipping thing. I think I was so distracted by the fact that she has a gun drawn and there's a guy in the background circling her who's holding a circular Viking shield and a broadsword. And I was just like, why does the Order use these antiquated weapons? It doesn't seem effective.
They just got too much money to spend at this point, you know?
It was weird because it looks like one of those weird people who has a YouTube channel where they review different swords or something, and he's just like, I'm gonna kill demons, where when a human dressed in normal clothing is holding one of those swords, it looks absurd.
Yes.
Because no one needs a claymore in the year 2021.
Yeah. And so then they negotiate, and Wynonna gets to go in, and then we have the classic standoff, like, no, I'm not the possessed one, she's the possessed one. Nicole, you have to shoot the right person. But Waverly gives the game away when she's like, hey, you should just shoot Wynonna, and Nicole realizes the real Waverly would never say something like that.
Yeah, Waverly Earp would never say something like that. My girlfriend would never have coal black eyes and speak in the voice of a grindcore frontman. Kill her now. It's the only way. Wait a second. That doesn't seem like you. I mean, girl! You should have noticed their fucking jet black eyes immediately.
I mean, Waverly honestly was acting so weird in the barn that entire time. It's weird that Nicole didn't pick up on it.
Nicole writes down a police report. There were some mild signs of possession.
Yeah. Oh, I thought the black eyes were just contact lenses like the bassist from Limp Bizkit did back in the late 90s. I wanted to not be the only one who knew about that. But the fact that I do makes me feel really bad.
I didn't
It was
know
in a
about
music
that.
video.
You should feel bad, Hunter. I'm sorry.
It was probably like a Woodstock 2000 sort of thing.
Oh, wow. That makes it even sadder.
Remember when that was a thing?
Unfortunately,
Where they were just
vaguely.
like, let's do Woodstock again, but let's have Limp Bizkit play it?
Yes, they'll be our generation's Jimi Hendrix.
Yes. Exactly.
I just want Jimi Hendrix performs Rollin' instead of the Star Spangled Banner. If I could change one thing about history.
But yeah, so Wynonna then successfully de-demonizes Waverly by flipping her over and holding her nose and prying open her mouth and just dumping holy water in, like she's picking on like a 7-year-old child. Which is not the comparison I made. That was the suggestion Waverly made.
Yeah, the comparison I made was more to when you're trying to give your dog a pill and you have to hold its mouth closed and stroke its throat to get it to swallow the medicine.
We've been there.
No, so what you're saying is that the holy water, they just should have put the holy water in cream cheese or peanut butter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, demons love
You
peanut
would just
butter.
eat it right up.
Hunter, please tell us what happens next.
Waverly projectile vomits to a comedic degree. There's a scene in How High that's played for laughs where a small Asian boy projectile vomits for like 5 seconds. They do this in Wynonna Earp, where Waverly is just spewing black sludge that also contains a weird lamprey demon out onto the barn floor. And yeah, I've mixed liquors before, so I know how that feels. It's a very weird scene. I'm gonna post the screenshot I took whenever this episode goes up because, like, damn. It's like that Team America scene where the puppet's just vomiting in the alleyway for about 3 minutes.
Yes.
It's very funny and kind of jarring just because you don't really expect. Yeah, it's weird tonally.
It could have just been she bends over and does a normal amount of vomit, but there happens to be, like, the demon comes up.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been in better keeping than a comedic, like, fire hose spewing out of her open mouth.
Yes.
That was a choice that was made, and
they
argue
clearly
against.
did make it for a joke, because Waverly's line after that is something like, how very New Year's random year of
2012
me.
or something, yeah.
And so Wynonna puts an end to Miction, and Doc hands over the heirloom plate to the Fraternal Order. And they walk off into the mid-afternoon because killing Miction dissipated the thunder snowstorm.
Which I didn't think that would do it, because there was a radio broadcast thing earlier on, which I missed on first watch, where they're like, in the forecast, there's thunder snow. And I thought it was just coincidence and that Miction was latching on to that. But the fact that the storm dissipated instantly after killing the demon implies that the demon conjured the storm?
Yeah, the demon set it up, in advance so that it would show up on radar.
The weirdest thing to me about that scene was these 10 guys from the Order are just shown walking off the property into the distance. We can see a long way. There's no cars or anything for miles, which means they straight up walked here. They would have carpooled or something. There should have been like a truck out there, and it's like, oh yeah, guys, pile back in the truck, hop on the back.
Look, time was of the essence. They had to cross-country hike to get there. It was the only solution.
It's the thing that happens all the time in Wynonna Earp, where there must be some sort of prairie dog tunnel system that everyone just uses to just pop up wherever in the barren landscape, because it's just I don't know.
Dude, it's in the country. There are no neighbors in sight. You're gonna drive up to that place. You're not gonna say, hey guys, let's get on our plague doctor outfits and hike 10 miles to kill this demon. There should be 2 cars parked out front, and they just hop on in and drive off instead of wandering into...
I mean, even if there were neighbors, driving a fire truck is pretty solid cover for whatever you're doing. No one's gonna be like, oh, what's a fire truck doing out here? Those don't go anywhere where there's a medical emergency that needs to be solved.
Just drive up in your fire truck because you're volunteer firefighters. That's what you do instead of hiking. It was really stupid, and it was just to have this cool shot of them walking away.
Cool is a strong word.
I think they were going for it's gonna look really cool as they walk off into the distance on the horizon. It would look stupid if they were climbing onto a fire truck. As if the guys toting swords and shields dressed in burgundy leather robes don't look fucking ridiculous.
Love to go for a hike with my claymore.
The fashion choices for the Order are questionable.
I feel like there's an entire Reddit community somewhere out there that goes on hikes with their claymore.
Probably.
I found the stupidest Reddit community ever this week, which is... There's one that's R Paranormal. There's a post on there of, oh yeah, one time I was cooking rice in my house that I live in with several other people, and I left it on the stove too long, but when I came back, the stove was turned off. I'm pretty sure it was a helpful ghost helping me out. And everyone's like, yeah, that's totally a ghost. And no one was like,
that's
probably
your roommate.
Yeah, your fucking roommate did that. And the guy who was like, I was stoned off my balls near a cemetery, and I thought I saw a goblin. And people are like, no, from your description, dude, you didn't see a goblin. You saw a demon. Instead of, nah, dude, you were high as fuck. And you didn't see shit.
Look, I know Justin looks a little pale, but he's just an IT guy. He's not actually a ghost.
Those people would be hiking out in the woods with their fucking claymores. Like a bunch of dildos.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we get a double ending, which, one, we find out Jeremy returns and has a little talk with Dolls, and he says, oh yeah, Black Badge Division is totally empty when I went over to HQ. There's fucking no one there. And they've been seeding this thing for the last few episodes where Black Badge hasn't been returning Agent Lucato's voicemails or emails, which is weird for your employer. Mm-hmm. And because they're not like a girlfriend that's mad at you. It just doesn't seem right. So I guess Black Badge has just shut down and not told anyone is what we're led to believe.
Yeah, I guess. Or that they've been wiped out somehow. I don't know.
I have a few things we're going to have to predict on at the end of this episode, but I will leave it to you guys to talk about the gripping final scene and final reveal of this episode.
Sure. So Waverly starts talking about how the demon informed her that Wynonna's body was too crowded, and that's why she jumped, even though that's not actually what happened in the episode, but I guess that's irrelevant. and hands her a paper bag, and then Wynonna goes into the bathroom, and they recap again that there were too many, her body was too crowded. And at this point, I'm like, I don't really need to see the test. I'm not even sure why they showed it to us at the end. It's like very obvious. Like, she's obviously pregnant.
Oh, I thought she had just, like, it was too crowded because she'd just eaten like 16 pizza bagels.
I know, it was really difficult to tell what they meant by that, but
Yeah.
somehow I picked up on the subtle 27 cues they gave us. And yes, she is pregnant.
It's very funny, like, rewatching the episode, because they try to, like, seed in some more naturalistic clues, but they're just, like, so blindingly obvious on rewatch. Like, there's a scene when Wynonna first goes into, like, the police department. She's like, damn underwire, why won't this bra fit right? And on the first watch, like, that's so weird and baffling. Is that a demon thing? And then after you learn the pregnancy, like, that's so poorly put in there.
Oh, I thought that was just a demon thing.
No, she's just already getting pregnancy boobs. That's what's happening.
Oh, I thought that was a little early in the pregnancy for those sorts of
Sometimes the
physiological
boobs
changes.
are the first to change.
Hey, never been pregnant, so
I had a friend who
I don't
said
know.
she knew she was pregnant because it looked like her. She looked down at her boobs and it was like a road map of blue veins. Like, she was like, "What the fuck? I guess I'm pregnant again."
Oh, here's the thing that threw me was when I first watched this episode and Waverly handed over the bag and then they cut to Wynonna just looking at the positive pregnancy test. And knowing the Earp family and how fucking weirdly close they are, I was like, there's a 50% chance that Waverly gave her a, like, already tested pregnancy test because she somehow has a sample of Wynonna's urine.
Yes.
And I'm still not convinced that that isn't what happened.
I was definitely confused why Waverly was waiting outside the bathroom when they are so close. Like, she'd be in there. Maybe back turned, but still.
I just imagine now, like, Waverly's, like, watching the pee stream, like, that's yellower than usual. Have you gotten enough liquids, Wynonna?
This is a family where when the power goes out, they probably sit on each other's laps and pee between each other's legs to conserve on the flushing. So, if they were both in the bathroom, you wouldn't have batted an eye. But then they wouldn't have been able to do the shot where they both have their backs to the door and are having a little discussion about how Wynonna's pregnant.
Which, to be fair, was a fairly cool shot.
So that's why they did that. And I'm not going to totally blame the writers for having to shoehorn this in because this is clearly a situation where Melanie Scrofano is the star. She got pregnant in real life and she was like, guys, we got to work this into the show. So they had to scramble and make something happen.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to them making it happen. And I guess this is the season where throughout it, she's going to be fighting demons while pregnant. My biggest question is, you're not supposed to, like, drink coffee or smoke cigarettes or whatever when you're pregnant. I feel like being possessed by a demon, probably not good for a fetus.
Well, you think that, but actually all the vitamins and minerals in a rat Bloody Mary, it kind of counteracts demon possession, so...
Right, because I was like, this kid's going to turn out fucked up. Like, there's a demon inhabiting the body as it was developing in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our cliffhanger we're left on is Wynonna's pregnant. We found out there's a whole group of people in the town who hunt demons that are volunteer firefighters. We stopped the demon possession plotline, so Waverly's all good. And the biggest thing for me, and this is what I need to ask you guys about, the volunteer firefighters really wanted the plate. What is the significance of the plate? Is there any significance? Are we going to follow this? And is there going to be a thing of, hey, this plate has some sort of magical powers?
I hope so. I mean, it's been in several episodes now, at least 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I have some faith that they're not just going to toss it away since they've had some continuity with it. But I have no idea what it means and why it is any more important than any other plate.
There's a brief cutaway scene where Ewan
Yeah, there you go.
Yes!
is talking with Juan Carlo and refers to the plate as, like, some kind of, like, ward sigil. So I guess it, like, does something mystical, but that's as much as I can tell you. I'm not totally confident it will come back. I think it may have just been an excuse to establish the Order, who may be bigger players in this season than some other people we're hoping would be, who were established the previous season that wound up just kind of being pointless. I'm hoping they don't blacksmith the Order is what I'm saying.
Oh, God, yeah. That would piss me off. I guess what they're trying to set up is Black Badge is either shut down or has been destroyed by demons, and so now it's just Wynonna's crew and the Order, and they're pretty much the only agents who are trying to stop chaos.
Which is a weird choice, because we made such a big deal in that first episode about how, like, now they're under Black Badge's thumb, and, like, this is a really bad thing, and they have to sign this ancient blood contract, and now this is kind of all swept away.
Yeah, if Black Badge is no more, I guess you're free of the contract on a technicality?
Maybe. Do you have any cringe lines, Hunter?
I only have one.
Make it
and
count.
It's when Lucado and Dolls, after their fight, are kind of like making up, and Lucado's like, "What's the situation?" And Waverly responds,
that is
"Frankly,
the one.
Lucado, the situation is balls."
I am literally on a transcript right now at that exact line. Sarah will verify this.
It's true.
Damn, you took it. Yes, that is the correct one.
Okay, I didn't know if there were any others. Nothing else stood out to me because I just do cringe lines by when I hear it and I get like it's literally the cringe feeling. It's like pornography, like that famous definition of like, I don't know how to define it, but I know cringe when I hear it.
Well, it's always tough to identify a cringe line because, like, sometimes the cringe is supposed to be the humor they're going for. Like, at the beginning of the episode, you know, the volunteer fire department beheads a demon and say, now let's have nachos. That's obviously, like, trying to be funny. So, even if it's bad, there's kind of a built-in, but is it cringe?
Because that was a joke that didn't land for me whenever they behead a demon and are like, let's get nachos.
Yeah.
It didn't make me laugh, didn't make me smile. It lacked in delivery and creativity, but it didn't make me feel physically uncomfortable like it did when Waverly's standing with a shotgun and says, this situation is balls.
Yeah, that was like the perfect line where it's not funny, but it also hurts you.
Part of it was the delivery, part of it is just them feeding a bad line to Waverly that doesn't necessarily fit with her character.
Yeah, there's a way to pull that off. She should kind of be a little more terrified that her sister is possessed by a demon. So having this kind of funny line just doesn't really work tonally or emotionally. Sarah, do you have something?
I don't. That was the worst line to me. I don't know. All the stuff like about the demon, it's not a cringe line. All the stuff about the demon being Legion, except only possessing one person at a time, I thought was just terrible.
Legion thing was really dumb because that's been so overused. I think it was that shitty Ghost Rider movie with Nicolas Cage where that was the whole thing, was like the demon was Legion, and it's all from a New Testament Bible quote where Jesus is dealing with a demon possession, if I remember correctly. It's been so overused and so worn down to cliche that it was dumb to even conjure it up, and the fact that it never went anywhere and the demon was never multiplying and they weren't ever trying to deal with several possessions at once made it completely unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen Ghost Rider. I mean, I know.
You're lucky.
But there's a character named Legion in the Mass Effect series that is an alien species that was created by another species, and they're like a computer network system. And so Legion speaks in like Royal We and is...
Yeah, because it's running every program inside every body.
And it's really consistent and it makes sense. And so like compared to something like that, I was like, there's no effort. The demon isn't calling itself we even. Like, this is amateur hour.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, whenever I listen back to our episodes, it becomes abundantly clear that I have consumed nothing but shit media. Because in this episode, the 3 films I have referenced have been How High, Team America World Police, and Ghost Rider. And this is one of the higher brow episodes that I've put on.
You just need to get on my level and only quote Buffy episodes.
Yeah, have you listened back? Because I love our season 1 Wynonna Earp run. I was listening back through them after like a break to see from like an outside perspective. I fucking love this podcast. It's great and it's funny and I laugh at this when I listen back to it because I'm conceited. It's just every episode is like sooner or later Kevin's gonna or Sarah's gonna drop a Buffy quote. Sarah's gonna bring in Roswell or Veronica Mars.
We are very consistent people.
It's the first time I've brought up Roswell, okay? I'm pretty sure. Maybe
No,
not.
there's been like 2 or 3
Damn
other
it.
episodes. Not even kidding. But every episode is just like, is he gonna talk about Van Helsing or a Method Man movie?
I can't wait till you finally expand to Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai.
Is that the one with Forrest Whitaker?
I actually don't know who's in it. I just know that RZA produced it and I think maybe directed it.
I may have seen this movie. Come on. Come on, from 1999. This feels like something I would have watched several times. Up there with Cradle to the Grave. Forrest Whitaker as Ghost Dog. The titular Ghost Dog.
But then who played Way of the Samurai?
Oh, that would have been RZA, I guess.
But
Did RZA really direct this?
I think so. I'm not positive. I just know he was heavily involved behind the scenes, and it's seen as like a RZA movie.
Okay, well now I have to rewatch it.
Thank you for listening to our podcast all about being Wu-Tang stans.
Before we go, how would you rate this episode?
I'd actually rate it pretty highly just because of how fun it was. Like, I would go like 4, maybe even 4.5 2012 New Year's Eve vomiting incidents.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4 out of 5 rat smoothies.
I'm going to say 4 out of 5 signs of struggle in the house. Because so much happened in this episode between fight scenes with Lucado, her head exploding, Wynonna getting a finger snipped off, shooting a weird demon worm lamprey in a barn. This was not an episode that moved slowly or trudged along. This was just, let's see what the fuck we can make happen. I appreciated that.
This was a delight. Like, it doesn't make sense almost ever, but it is an enjoyable ride, and you can tell everyone was having fun making this one.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back next week with season 2, episode 6, which I guess is the baby shower.
Ooh.
I hope. I don't know what the next one's titled.
All right. Until then, thank you for listening. You can find us on Twitter at GrittyRebootPod or email us at grittyrebootpodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to check out our website, grittyrebootpodcast.com, for information that I will hopefully update at some point.
Catch you guys on the flip side.
When they tried to board my vessel